Well, good evening. I got sun in my eyes, but I'm out in front of the RV. I am having issues with my batteries here. So I have two 6-volt batteries tied together to make one 12-volt battery, but it is keeping me with 225 amp hours of power. And then I have the chassis battery down there, which is almost a year old now, but it is also dead. And it's not from me not coming out here, starting it and running it every now and then, because I do that. I think the cold weather, what happened to my bird system, let me take this off here. So one of these are bad, but I'll probably change out all of them at the same time. But when I run the engine, it just sits there and flips back and forth like it's trying to charge the house batteries, and it's not. The fun thing is it never disengages when I'm not running the engine, so then when the house batteries get depleted, it starts pulling back energy off my house battery. Doesn't always stay stuck to where it's connected, but apparently this time it did. When we got the -degree temperatures, my two 6-volt batteries decided to crap out. They will no longer hold a charge, and I just noticed that because I had them plugged in all day yesterday and got them back up to 12.6 total, since I didn't have them tied together. So I tested here and over here. So it treated it as a 12-volt battery. I tested it as a 12-volt, got up to 12.6. Literally the next morning, it was back down to 10.43, I think it was. So they're shot. Unfortunately, since they're shot, they are trying to charge off the house battery, which that sucked that below 12. It never works out the way you want it to, does it? But it's a little tight in here. I'm gonna get these batteries pulled and get the new 6-volt batteries. I'm gonna take the 12-volt because it's still under a year old. Have them tested out to make sure it's still good. It should be good, it just probably needs to be charged. They don't like being below that 12-volt mark, but what can you do? So, all right, let me get these out and we'll go from there. All right, there you go. All three batteries are out. These Duracells actually lasted pretty good. I had them for almost 8 years, and this is the first time they haven't wanted to hold charge, so pretty good. Okay, so now that this is cleaned up, the goal is to get this black tape off all these, get these re-wrapped, get the ends cleaned up there. They're pretty aged out, corroded a little bit. Let me take this back off. So now these control my battery connections, you know, the house batteries, the chassis battery, and the generator all comes up and connects through these, goes through the fuse panel and everything. But what these do is they're battery shutoffs and relays, so that when something is running, plugged in, whatever, allows charging between batteries and everything. One of these are bad for sure, because I lucked out with that ice storm. We didn't get any ice, so I didn't have to worry about coming out here in the cold and everything, just so we'd have a smaller location to try and heat in the RV compared to a larger house when we didn't have power. So we lucked out with that, but when the RV is plugged in, it does not charge the house battery or the chassis battery. It only charges the house battery. Now, I know not every RV will charge chassis battery along with the house batteries when it's plugged in. It's all based on your setup. But the way this one is, it should, but we'll double check when we go through. But one of these shutoffs for the auxiliary start, and I could start using the house batteries to jumpstart the chassis battery if the chassis battery is dead, which is nice. But when I'm running on the alternator, it just flips back and forth, and it doesn't actually charge the house batteries off the alternator like it should. It just constantly flips back and forth, and it doesn't always disconnect properly when it is when I shut the engine off. So when we had those negative temperatures after that ice storm, it killed the house batteries. Well, since it wasn't properly disconnected, it drained the chassis battery. The house batteries would not hold a charge. The chassis battery was holding a charge, but it still wouldn't start the engine. So I had it checked out, and the cranking amps were completely all screwed up for some reason. Luckily, it's a 3-year warranty battery, so the chassis battery was replaced at no charge, and I did get some new batteries for the house batteries, but all 3 batteries are new. Okay, to show you what batteries I got here, I got the Die Hard Gold, and I just replaced these with the 6-volt Duracell, which that's what I had before. Got 8 years out of them, so I was pretty pleased with that. So I went back with them. Yes, I know I could get lithium and AGM and all that, but that, for what I'm doing right now, the 2 6-volt batteries tied together gives me 12 volt if I run them in series, and I get 235 amp hours, or no, these are 230 amp hours. So you can see here, 230. Hi, Maleem. Of course, she's got to be helpful and in the way. Where's the other one? There he is. Gotta excuse the mess here. So there's Leo, loving the sun. He doesn't know what to think of my wrist brace. Figured since I'm still having a little bit of issues with my wrist, I should wear it. But yeah, so Maleem and Leo, they're gonna be ornery butts. That sucker's nice. I gotta get it straightened out, but it's making it so much easier to find shit whenever I get it all set up. But for the time being, washer and dryer is going to be my work table. Isn't that right? Alright, I'll have to put you aside so I can get to work. Okay, with these, I'm going to get the ends cleaned up, tape come off of them, and I'm going to get these heat shrinks down, so then I'm not dealing with all this tape, and I'm going to get these cleaned up a little bit. So the reason why mine, if yours don't have them, doesn't really quite matter depending on where they're at, but the reason why mine has this protective tubing around the wire is my batteries are up front, in front of the radiator, which means they can get hit with rock and everything, debris on the road, so they're protected. But essentially what I'm just going to do, take some sandpaper, clean them off, so I'll have a better connection, using a couple different thickness of sandpaper just so they're not too rough. This wire is actually red where that one was black, but I'm going to color code each of the ends red and black so it's easier to tell since it's got the protective sleeve on it. So let me get that done to all the cords. And the next step will be getting all the new relays and battery disconnects put in. All right, see you in a bit. All right, so you got all those cords rerouted, color coded, positive red, negative black, and it's time to start ripping these out. It's going to be fun because the box here, I can't just get a ratchet up in there, so yeah. Not only that is they have these plates spanning these, so I'm going to have to probably disconnect the wires and take them all out as a unit, make things a little easier. So let's get busy. And I have to say sorry for the lighting. The sun is behind me, so it's just making things a little difficult as far as lights. And you always want to be sure there's no power to any of these, which I currently have. You know, the batteries are unplugged. RV's not plugged in to shore power, and the generator is not running. Also, it always helps to take a picture before you start so you know where each of the wires go. Lovely. I'll see if I could bend this bracket right here out a little bit without damaging the relay disconnect. So, all right, be back in a sec. So after last night trying to attempt to run this. I realized my two black wires here going to this one and this one were backwards. Looking through pictures, like how this has the paint lined up, that one didn't. So that was a quick, easy fix. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. So if we test this now, chassis battery 1377 and the two 6 volts, breaking both of them to make a 12 volt. Yep, 1375. Well, I'm going to call it good here for getting these replaced. RV is charging great. I'll have to come back out here in a couple hours to check to make sure that that kicks over to start charging the chassis battery, but I think it will as soon as the house batteries have enough charge. But yeah, that RV has not charged properly since I've had it going on 8 years now. So pleased I finally just decided to get that done before I did too much anything else, especially since batteries are not cheap. Granted, the chassis battery was under warranty, so that was free, but it still cost me a couple $100, almost $300 for the two 6 volt batteries, which is still cheap compared to lithium, but still pretty penny whenever you're trying to get things done. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have questions or anything, feel free to ask, and I will see you in the next video.